Good afternoon. Welcome to Camnet TV Media News. I am Precious Mzea. Sakaleji with headlines. Malanji Lusambo rejected as they attempt to file in nomination disregarding the law. UPND question motive behind Zambia must prosper. Join me with the details after this commercial.
The Zambia Statistics Agency will this year conduct the 2021 census across the country. The census aims to count people in households, rural and urban, hospitals, military, police and correctional facilities. This numbering will extend to hotels, farms, as well as high-density areas with different families sharing a house and those in transitory locations. Every person in the country matters and should be counted because the census will benefit all, from migrants, refugees and street children, homeless people, the young and the old people, as well as persons with disabilities. Everyone counts. This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency.
And now the media news in detail. More than 190 volunteer health practitioners contracted by the Ministry of Health with the support from the World Bank under the Fight COVID-19 project have protested after being left out from the 11,000 newly recruited health personnel.
COVID-19 pandemic caused a lot of anxiety across the globe, which saw some countries go into panic and enforce lockdown measures in an effort to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on their people. And since the outbreak of the pandemic in Zambia, many efforts were put in place to mitigate its impact, and one such effort was to recruit volunteer health workers with the support from the World Bank, which was later agreed that the volunteer workers will be absorbed in the civil service. The assurance was also confirmed by the former Permanent Secretary for Administration in the Ministry of Health, Dr. George Magwende.
As government, we would love you to continue rendering your services while we look into the plight of your engagement, the plight of your remunerations, and the plight of your welfare.
Despite the assurance that these volunteer health workers will be automatically absorbed in the civil service, these 191 volunteer health workers have been left out from the over 11,000 health personnel recruited in 2022.
At the beginning of the contract, there was an agreement between MOH and World Bank that after this contract is done, we are going to be transitioned into government payroll. But unfortunately, after the recruitment came, our names were not in the papers, and the agreement that was made between the PS and the Ministry of Health, the PS and the World Bank was not fulfilled. We are here to ask what really happened to us.
When they come there to visit their relatives, they could stay far away from us, as if also we have COVID. But we are the same people who were attending to their relatives while suffering. We had COVID at some point. We have all the documents. We almost died in those pandemics. But because they said at the end of this contract, we'll be transitioned. So we want our transition now.
The health practitioners have also disagreed with the sentiments made by the Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Technical Services that they were left out because they did not have the right qualifications.
Even when our first contract ended, when we came to visit here, the ministry said we are engaging the World Bank to negotiate with them so that they can cover up this period up to the time that we are going to have recruitment. So, our question is, why were we not employed? Which criteria are they telling us to say we didn't meet? Because if we didn't meet any criteria, I don't think we could have even gotten the contracts that we had.
Having put their lives at risk to volunteer serving during the most difficult time of the pandemic, and having been assured that they will be given priority in the recruitments, these practitioners now seek the intervention of the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema.
So we need the president to come to our aid and hear us. Today we are not going anywhere. We are going to sleep here. If it means sleeping here, we are going to sleep here so that the ministry can hear our grieving
Or maybe a positive feedback from the minister herself to know if at all will be considered or we should just forget about it, because we've sacrificed ourselves a lot. And we worked during the most difficult time of the country. Under the lockdown, you saw how people were dying, but we sacrificed a lot.
And efforts to get a comment from the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, proved futile by broadcast time as her phone went unanswered. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The United Party for National Development UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwitwa has questioned the motive behind the launch of the Zambia Must Prosper party led by Kelvin Walya-Fube. Speaking at a press briefing held in Lusaka Thursday, Mr. Mwitwa says the remarks made by Mr. Fube that he is here to fix the fixer have all been directed at President Hakainde Hichilema and has wondered why a person who supported President Hichilema in the 2021 general election would a year later launch a political party to fix him.
The 2021 general elections were described as one of the most highly contested general elections in Zambia, as 16 leaders from 16 different political parties vied for the highest political office of the land. When the country thought it had seen it all, new political parties are still emerging, with the latest being the Zambia Must Prosper led by Kelvin Walya-Fube, who was part of the United Party for National Development UPND alliance in the 2021 general elections. UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwitwa has questioned the motive behind Mr. Fube forming a new political party 1 year after having ditched the PF to join the UPND alliance, and later announced that he has formed a new party to fix the fixer.
That at a time when the citizens of this country want the government to fix the economy and the challenges plaguing this nation, KBF wants to fix an individual. Instead of saying, I'm creating a political party to fix this and that problem, none of that. He says he wants to fix a church. We welcome KBF to that political endeavor.
Mr. Mwitwa also adds that Zambia is a democratic country where people are free to choose whom they want to associate with, but says those who eye for political office should not try to gain mileage by using imperative language against the president.
He accused President HH as running government as a lone individual. Now, this is blatant lies, lying right through your teeth in broad daylight. Because the nation knows that HH is running government with his cabinet, and in that cabinet there are leaders or presidents of political parties who are part of the alliance.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwitwa has challenged the Socialist Party President Fred Membe to clearly tell the Zambian people his motive behind supporting Bowman Lusambo and John Malanji in the Kwacha and Kabushi by-elections, when he has in the past been a critic of the PF administration.
They open and give the correct reasons why they have decided to back Patriotic Front, because they have never told us that Patriotic Front now is no longer a party they branded as most corrupt. So, Socialist Party there should be seen as a hypocritical organization who are masterminders of political opportunism.
For now, we will continue to monitor how matters in the political atmosphere unfolds. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
22 children of Homo David Orphanage in Divala Township of Lusaka's Kwacha Constituency are in danger of becoming homeless after the orphanage was allegedly placed as collateral by its owner for a cash of 150,000 kwacha. In an interview, neighbors in the community who alerted Camnet News have called on the Ministry of Community Development and Social Welfare to look into the plight of the children, stating that they may end up on the streets if no urgent action is taken.
While orphanages provide food, shelter, and a sense of security for orphans who would otherwise be left homeless, the status of some of these facilities has remained a worry for many concerned citizens, as standards in some places have remained below par. This is home of David Orphanage in Lusaka's Livala Township in Kwacha Constituency, where a wrangle has emerged, putting the children in danger of being left homeless. It is alleged that owner of the orphanage, a man identified as Traifangandu, acquired a loan of 150,000 kwacha from a crediting company known as Shigi Creditors and General Dealers, but put the orphanage as collateral should he fail to pay. Secretary of the said company, Kelvin Musonda, in an interview, explains that the said man has defaulted on his payment, leaving the company with no option but to lock up the orphanage, stating that all legal documentation is in order.
Has borrowed money from different financial institutions, and he puts the orphanage ownership documents as collateral, as he has done to our company, Shigi Creditors and General Dealers. This man owes our company close to 150,000 kwacha, and he has been hiding from paying this amount. So as a company, we have no option but to lock up his orphanage. But on humanitarian grounds, we said no, we can't lock up the orphanage. We love the children. So we are making a humble appealing to the government through the Department of Social Welfare to look into this issue. In fact, the best is to lock up, the best is to grab his license, because this man is a crook. Surely, how can he put the orphanage ownership documents as collateral?
Meanwhile, neighbors near the orphanage allege that the children are living in poor conditions, as the orphanage is now struggling to survive.
You know, within a week, there are people who come each and every day to Kamandi. Bama boyira kubwira shtabwanji ubukamba ta orphanage tinafaka ni orphanage yatu anatenga ndrama ku bantu osiyana so tiopa kuli bana baja because bana bali bekoenda so tipempa kuli government kuti bana ingaiste bwanji ingabatenge because vetiona simanifiko shitikira ya because bana sibamaja sometimes mwaona jaso ero kubwira beve sibamabwira but every day timaona che bantu babwira banatenga ndrama ko banatenga ndrama. So me as a neighbor and a constituting citizen monga ene beninga kambe shiribwino ifinga government ilanganepo.
Meanwhile, owner of the said orphanage, when contacted, declined to comment on the matter. The call is for the Ministry of Community Development and Social Welfare to look into the plight of the children before they are left homeless. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Constitutional Court has ruled that it will deliver a judgment on the 7th of September 2022 on whether the decision by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to refuse to accept the nomination of former Kabushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo and former Kwacha Member of Parliament Joseph Malanji is valid or not.
What they want is to hear the entire matter, right, before the election. So the elections are 15th of September. The case will be held on the 6th of September, and the judgment will be given on the 7th of September, so which will give us an extra 1 week before the elections are held.
Can you still file in nomination?
Well, this court has power to postpone an election. So if our clients are successful, then the matter will be, the election will be pushed. Because what the court doesn't want to do is to deal with this matter in piecemeal. You deal with this issue today, you deal with that one. And I think the directions of the court are very clear. The Attorney General and the ECZ have been told to respond to our issues, the application that is before court.
And filed the nomination.
They were declared invalid.
No, they were just not accepted. the ECZ decided not to accept the client's nominations. But this is an issue that we are now going to have the court determine if that refusal to accept the nomination was actually valid or not. So if the court finds that the filing of nominations was wrong, or the refusal rather to accept the nominations was wrong, then we take it that the court will then direct that those nominations that were filed should be considered valid, and the candidates will remain on the ballot.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Media News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Malanji Lusambo rejected as they attempt to file in nomination disregarding the law. UPND question motive behind Zambia must prosper. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.